A team that has not the best possible record here facing the Spain. And we also know that Catalina is maybe not going to play either. So how do you feel before this first game?
Não,
Good afternoon,
independentemente
everyone.
das jogadoras espanholas que vão para dentro de campo amanhã,
Claro,
sabemos a qualidade da
it's
seleção
obvious
espanhola,
that
sabemos
we are in a
aquilo,
situation
as referências que tem, sabemos também
where the
das adversidades que
Spanish team is
tivemos nos últimos
extremely
2 encontros contra elas,
strong. We are
mas amanhã é um
aware
novo
of
jogo
this, but
e a
tomorrow is a
nossa
new
vontade
game.
é fazer
And what
certamente
we
melhor, competir
want to do is do
melhor
better,
amanhã e esse é o
claro,
nosso
and be
pensamento, o
ready for
nosso plano,
tomorrow. And
independentemente
that's what we
de
want
quem
to
se apresentar
do.
amanhã em campo.
And that's going to be our objective for tomorrow. Next question. Dolores, at 33 years old, after 172 international games, how do you feel for this step that is also very important for
Parte da mesma maneira do que
the
em
Portuguese
2017, quando fui para
football?
a primeira fase final.
It's like the
Senti todo
very
orgulho
first
tremendo,
game. I'm
uma responsabilidade
extremely
enorme poder estar
proud.
aqui,
I
representar o meu
feel
país.
this responsibility
Enquanto
on
capitães
my
das minhas
shoulders. I
colegas, nunca vou
represent
poder
my country.
fora e dentro do campo.
I'm really
E
happy to
acima
be
de tudo,
with
muito
my
feliz por poder
teammates.
estar presente em mais uma fase
And it's a
final
real
e
joy
poder
to
contribuir
be
também para aquilo
present
que é o
and
crescimento do
to
futebol no feminino no nosso
contribute,
país, que
claro,
esse é sem
to
dúvida o nosso maior foco,
women's
é continuar
football.
a fazê-lo crescer.
And that's what we want to do and continue to grow women's football.
Olá, Dolores. Francisco Martins para o Jornal Expresso. Este vai ser o europeu com mais bilhetes vendidos.
It is going to
também
be
o maior prémio monetário.
a year,
Como é
the
que é fazer parte
European
deste
Championship,
fenómeno,
with
desde que participou
the
no
most
primeiro europeu?
visibility.
O que é que lhe deu-lhe a
Of course,
confiança
there's a
de
lot
jogar
of
futebol?
change, I guess, from your
Não,
very first
fazer
participation
parte
years ago.
de tudo
Of
isto
course, things have
mais um
changed,
cumprir de um sonho.
and it's almost
É
a
saber
dream.
que em 2017 nós estávamos
In
a abrir portas para que isto fosse
2017,
possível e felizmente a
we
evolução
couldn't
tem
even
sido grande
imagine that
e
this would be
felizmente tem
possible.
sido
The
em vários
evolution has
países,
been
nomeadamente aqui na
here
Europa, tem-se cada vez
unbelievable,
mais vincado
mainly
aquilo
in
que é o
Europe.
futebol no feminino e isso deixa-me muito feliz por
And this is
fazer
a
parte
real
desta
joy.
história, por poder
We're
estar aqui
extremely happy to be
e hoje
part
em
of
dia
this
poder também
history, to
usufruir
be
daquilo que
here,
são tudo aquilo que são as condições que nos são
and
oferecidas.
be able really
Falo da
to
seleção, falo da minha
take the
federação.
most of
Ter
these
aquilo que em
of the
2017 nos
situation, of the
apresentava, hoje nos
conditions that we
apresenta
are
e temos
in.
todas as
Obviously,
condições
in
para trabalhar ao mais
2017,
alto nível
things are very
isso é fruto
different.
também do
So we
nosso
do
trabalho, é
appreciate
fruto
the
também da nossa
change, but this is
dedicação e também
also
daquilo, da maneira
the
como as
result of our
pessoas também olham
work,
para nós
of
e espero
our
que assim continue.
commitment, and the trust of the public.
Dolores Silva, muito boa tarde, Dolores. Estamos em direto na
Good afternoon,
RTP3. Aquilo que eu gostava de saber
Dolores
é como é que
from
a equipa se
RTP3.
preparou para defrontar logo a
I'd
Espanha,
like to
que
know
é a campeã do
how
mundo, logo neste
you
primeiro jogo.
prepared
Isto
as a
incluiu ao que
team
significa
for this very
motivação
first
e alguma
game that
ansiedade
is going
da
to be a
própria equipa.
challenging
E a selecionadora
game.
espanhola disse há pouco que
And a few minutes
tinha que
ago,
ter cuidado com as transições da seleção
claro,
portuguesa
they
e
also talked about
até
the
que
transitions.
houvesse
The
alguns
coach
períodos
of the
do
Spanish
jogo em que a
team also
Espanha
explained
pudesse
that
vir a sofrer alguma coisa.
your team was going to be
Referência
also a
nesta
challenge for
análise da
Spain.
selecionadora espanhola. Muito obrigado.
So, what do you think? What's your
Bom,
opinion?
respondendo primeiramente à sua pergunta,
To answer
acho
your
que
question,
a
I think
motivação tem que estar no máximo. É um campeonato da Europa, é um
that
momento único para nós.
it's a
Enquanto
unique
jogadoras, o que nós
moment
queremos
for us. It's the
é
European
viver estes momentos.
Championship. We want
Sabemos que
to
vamos defrontar a
take
melhor
the most
seleção
and
do
enjoy
mundo.
every minute of it.
É o que
We
é,
know we're
fosse
going to
no primeiro, no
have,
segundo ou no terceiro. Estão cá,
claro,
nós estamos cá
to
e
make the
por isso
most
que nós
of it.
trabalhamos é para estar
And
aqui, para
specifically,
jogar
we
contra as
know
melhores.
that we're going to
Por
play
isso estamos
against
muito
all the best
motivadas,
teams.
trabalhamos ao
If it's not the
máximo,
first game, then it's the
focadas naquilo
second game or the third game. That's the way it
que
is.
fizemos de menos bem, tentar
We are aware
corrigir
of it.
e amanhã dar
We
tudo
are
em campo
ready to
e procurar que
give
também a
it
parte
all
emocional
tomorrow when we
seja
get on the
controlada, sabendo que
pitch.
é um momento único poder amanhã entrar em
We
campo
know it's a
num campeonato da
unique
Europa e
moment,
também espero que
and we
junto de
want
muitos
to make the
portugueses
most
venham também ao
of it
estádio para nos
tomorrow.
apoiar.
And
Isso
I
será importante
hope
e
that we'll
depois
have a
a
lot of
segunda pergunta
Portuguese
era
people that will come and support us tomorrow. That's very
Durante
important for
alguns
us.
momentos do jogo e tinha que ter cuidado com as transições da seleção portuguesa.
bom,
Referência a
And
esta análise.
what do you answer
a
to
análise que fez, eu sei a
here
análise que faço da
the
minha
Spanish
equipa,
coach said about
sabe,
your transitions and your work?
não
Well,
vou
obviously,
alongar
I'm not
muito
going to
mais
say
sobre
that,
isso. Sei
we're
que
not a
temos,
bad
sei
team,
onde estão as
obviously,
nossas
and
capacidades e
we
espero, acima
know
de tudo, que
our
amanhã consigamos competir ao
capacities.
mais
We'll
alto nível, que
do
é isso que nós
our
pretendemos.
best tomorrow, and that's what we want to do.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Buenas tardes. Mi pregunta es la misma para los dos. Antes, Patri Jarro decía que después de haber jugado España y Portugal algunos partidos, esperaba que fuera como el primero de la Nations League por la intensidad que espera de
You
Portugal.
thought that it
¿Qué
was like
partido
the
esperáis
first time.
vosotros?
What kind
Gracias.
of game do you hope or do you look forward for
Bom,
tomorrow?
esperemos que seja, assim como a minha colega respondeu, que seja dessa forma. Queremos competir e competir forte.
We
Para
want
isso
to
trabalhamos
compete.
durante estas semanas
That's why we worked a
e
lot this
amanhã
week,
entrar em campo e dar tudo por
and
Portugal.
tomorrow we'll do our best to represent Portugal. Two more questions, please, for Dolores.
Hola, Pablo Parra para Radio Marca. Me gustaría saber si tú prefieres que mañana en España juegue Aitana o que no.
Would you rather having tomorrow Aitana
Me
or
dá
not?
igual.
Thank you.
La verdad,
I
vou
don't
responder em
mind,
português.
honestly. I will
Mas-
answer in
ou
Portuguese
espanhol, não sei. Sim, pronto. Acho
or in Spanish.
dá igual, com todo o respeito
It doesn't
pela
matter.
jogadora, é a melhor jogadora do mundo, mas acho que a seleção espanhola tem um conjunto de jogadores
I
muito
believe
fortes, com
here
Aitana,
that the
que
Spanish
conseguem
team is
fazer diferença, por
extremely
isso não se pode
strong.
tentar
With or without Aitana, they can make the
tentar o
difference.
máximo.
What is
Sejam-
important for us is
seja
to
quem
give our
for, as
best,
jogadoras que amanhã vão para dentro de campo defrontar
independently,
Portugal.
from the players. And the very last question, please. Hi, Dolores. 2 years ago, when Portugal reached here its highest level in New Zealand, very few believed in Portugal. This time around, it's a little different. I think ambitions are a little higher. As here, the captain of this team, what do you think? What is your
Eu olho
objective?
com a máxima seriedade, a máxima responsabilidade.
I think we have a
Os
responsibility that we're
pés
taking
assentos na
very
terra do
seriously. We
Tem
want
grande
to give our
adversidade. Isto
best.
é um campeonato da Europa, a semelhança
Obviously,
do que é
it's
um
a
campeonato do
European
mundo, aquilo que foi.
championship. We know very well that some teams are extremely
Foi
strong.
por pouco,
We
não
were
posto, como
uh,
disse. Agora é outra
happy.
competição.
We
Vamos
are happy to
sim,
be
jogo a
here.
jogo,
It's a different
pensar
competition from
jogo a
New
jogo
Zealand,
e dar o melhor
and we have
para
to
que
think
no
about
final,
match
no
after
terceiro
match,
jogo,
game after
possamos
game. We
estar a
can't
depender
just
só de nós
project,
para
and
então atingirmos o objetivo que
we want to
traçamos.
do our best.
Vamos então às perguntas agora ao selecionador nacional. Pode
And now
começar
we're going
com
to
a Luísa.
ask the questions to the coach. Same question basically for you. What are the objectives? And for you, what would you consider as a good game for the Portuguese selection?
Boa tarde a todos.
Good afternoon.
Acima de tudo, ter e ser uma equipa competitiva.
We have to be
Esse
a
é o primeiro
competitive
foco
team.
para entrar
I
no
think that's
Campeonato da Europa.
really our first
Sabemos
objective, and that's why we are here
percebemos quem é que
competing
está
in a
à nossa
European
frente,
championship.
percebemos o nosso contexto,
We
percebemos e
know
sabemos muito
that
bem,
we are in a
o
difficult
que é que a forma que nos
year
trouxe
group,
aqui, como é que temos
but we
conseguido ao longo
also
destes anos
know
chegar às fases
that
finais,
we've
e por isso
worked
sabemos que
very
amanhã temos que ser
hard
altamente
along the
competitivos.
years,
Por
and we know
isso,
that
esse é
tomorrow
o
we'll have to be
primeiro
very competitive.
grande
It's the
objetivo da
first
equipa, é
game,
conseguir
and that's going to be
competir,
our first
ser
objective, to be
competitivo, ser
competitive,
organizado e, como
be
é lógico,
organized,
tudo que for,
and
nós tivemos uma
give
fase
our
tão curta,
best.
sabemos que é muito
We know
importante conseguir pontuar.
that it's
Por isso,
absolutely
conseguir pontuar amanhã
essential to gain
seria
points from the
muito
very
bom.
first game. That would be
Não é decisivo e
ideal.
sabemos que não é decisivo,
We
mas
know
seria sempre,
here it's not
sempre muito bom.
a win or lose tomorrow, but getting some points from the very beginning will be ideal.
Já ninguém olha para Portugal como uma seleção que se contenta apenas em participar. Como provar
Nowadays,
na Liga das Nações,
the Portuguese team
foram,
is really
digamos, dores de crescimento.
considered as a very good team that can reach
Eu acho,
here
sinceramente,
very
que
good
nós,
objectives.
com todo o respeito,
What
acho
do
que
you
nós
think?
não
Do you think your
temos
team has
que
grown?
provar nada. Nós
Honestly,
temos,
we've
acima
got
de
nothing
tudo,
to prove.
de seguir o nosso trabalho, ou seja,
We have to continue our
nós
work.
estamos num patamar a que nos propusemos.
We are here in the
Queremos
best
ainda estar
possible
mais
situation.
acima do que aquilo que é a
Of course,
nossa
we want
realidade.
to
Sabemos
also
que
do better,
estar no mais alto
and that's
nível,
normal. That's
é muito,
because
muito
we are
difícil, nunca é
sports
fácil
people.
jogar
We
com as
want
campeãs da
to
Europa e com as
reach the
campeãs do
highest
mundo.
possible
Mas não
objectives.
foi
We
por
want
isso
to
que nós
be
abdicámos
competitive
de tentar
and we are therefore going to continue with our game. For several games, we managed to be very competitive and very organized, with very balanced games. And I do believe that for the game against England, we deserved a better result. But then other games where we were not so competitive, facing some difficulties. But right now, we need to look forward. We can't look in the past. We need to continue to grow. That's what it is. We're talking about sports at the highest possible level. And we know it's true, and we also fully trust our players. And as a group, we've worked a lot together, and we are going to continue this work. We know we always have things we can improve, and that's the same for all teams. The opinion, the general opinion is that Portugal will finish second in this group. What do you think? Well, no problem at all. That's great. That would be like a first objective reached. I can immediately sign down. But, we know it's not going to be that way. It's a game after a game, especially at the highest level. Of course, we want to reach our objectives, but we know that it's not how we can look at things. We need to look at each game one after one. We're going to do our best tomorrow against Spain. That's what we try to do in Passos de Ferreira. And we also want to remember the best possible games that we played against them. We were able to work really hard, and we are able to develop situations where we can be really lucky, and we have the competencies to do so. But we also know that tomorrow is going to be another game. It's going to be very difficult, but we do believe that we will have opportunities, and we'll have to really seize these opportunities. But it's going to be more the approach that we're going to take the game after game, and then we'll see what happens.
On the same lines, what kind of game do you expect tomorrow? Similar to that in the Nations League, or how do you see this new opportunity you have in front of the same selection?
It's going to be the first game. And of course, we know that we can create difficulties for the team of Spain. We've done that in the past. But obviously, we were able to balance that game for the Nations League. But we also know that Spain didn't have the opportunities that they usually have. We managed to limit their space. Therefore, we were highly competitive on that day. I believe that we will do the same tomorrow, but we also know that it's a European championship and the context is different and the stakes are also different. So we'll have to see. Good afternoon. The coach, the Spanish coach, talked about the transitions. Do you think here this is something you want to comment on? And second, here, question, do you think that Nazaré will be able to play tomorrow? Regarding transitions, I think it's not only Portugal. I think that Spain is a dominating team, a team that with the way it's very offensive, with a very strong offense, they dominate their opposing team, and therefore this has an impact. It's their tactics, and I do remember that England also uses this same logic, using a counter-attack tactic, as Spain is a very dominating team. With Spain, for the first game we played recently, we had these moments where we were able to push Spain a little further away from the goalpost, but we need to really understand that there will be moments where we will have opportunities, but we obviously know that we'll have to really grab any possible opportunities, because those may be very few tomorrow. So if these opportunities appear, if it's a counterattack, if it is just a different game, a shift, well, we have to be very strong and give it all. And regarding Talma and Francisca, we will have another year training, and we'll see how they feel. We'll discuss that with them as well, with the medical staff. But I do believe that we'll be all here today, and then we'll see how they feel, and we will take decisions tomorrow for the game. Good afternoon, Francisco. 8 years ago, Portugal was in a final phase against Spain. So 8 years later, we are facing the same team, but 8 years later, correct? So what has changed? Well, as you can see, I have more gray hair than I had 8 years ago. But it's still with the same will, with the same pride, with the same ambition that we are here. Of course, you're talking about that game. It is what it is. But nowadays, I think we are better, but I think they also better. I think we have to really admit that Spain has also grown, and we are still in this phase of development. We are aware of it. But our mission is the same. Our ambition is the same. The pleasure we take in playing is the same. So we just have a little more experience. We know what are those final stages, and we're going to continue to grow. We are very lucky to have our captain here with more experience, more capacities also to support the other players, and also reaching a level of maturity here.
Hola, Pablo Parra para Radio Marca. ¿Firmas empatar mañana contra España? Gracias.
Of result do you sign? What kind of result do you sign for tomorrow?
So we want to be competitive, and of course, if it's a draw, it's a draw. That's not the objective of the game. Usually, it's better to wait for the end of the game. So as I said, that happens. It happens with England. And I do believe that we could have won for this game played at home. And then with the game against Spain, we lost, and I believe we could have had a draw. So we are, of course, in a European Championship. We'll give it a year our maximum. We'll play to win. And, it doesn't matter if you win a point because it's a draw tomorrow, but then you lose the 2 next games, then what are you going to do with your point? 2 more questions, please. So, Antena 1 to start off with, please. My question is the following. When it comes to the psychological spirit, how do they feel? We know it's a whole process to reach such a difficult championship. So what have you done? Of course, and it's not a criticism, but we always talk about this topic, about the psychologically, because of the last results, and I do understand it's a topic that always comes back in all the press conferences, but do not forget that Our
fizemos antes
players
destes dois
are also very
e
strong
daquilo que vocês
players,
já
and
conseguiram fazer.
there is a lot of
Elas sabem disso,
experience.
são experientes o suficientemente
And
e
I do
inteligentes o
believe that the
suficiente
players
para
are
perceber
smart, are
o contexto
experienced,
e o porquê
are competitive,
daqueles
and
dois
they
resultados. E
understand
também
why
têm a
we
noção de que estar ao mais
lost
alto
these two
nível nunca
games.
são
And
coisas fáceis,
I
as coisas
do
poderem acontecer,
believe that
mesmo
even
nessas
if you
situações
are
nunca
at the
bem,
highest
também
possible
passam
level, things
por estes
happened.
momentos.
That's why those are games.
Ninguém quer passar por eles,
And you
ninguém
don't want
quer
really to
viver
go through a difficult
esses
phase. Nobody
momentos.
wants that. No one
Agora,
wants to go through a
quando
difficult game or
ganhávamos, não
difficult
éramos a melhor
loss.
equipa do mundo.
However,
Quando perdemos e perdemos pesado, como sabemos,
we,
também não somos,
of course,
não somos as
are always
piores.
disappointed
São as
when we
mesmas jogadoras
lose
que em
a
3
game,
meses, se foram
but
super competentes,
we know that our
as
players
mesmas
can
jogadoras
be
e a mesma equipa
extremely
técnica, mais equipa técnica
competent.
até à frente do que as jogadoras,
And
percebem qualquer
we've
coisa
worked a
da
lot with
situação.
the
Mas
technical
fomos os
team
mesmos
to find
que
answers,
na
to
dupla jornada em
work.
fevereiro e na
And
primeira
it's
jornada em
basically
abril
the
fomos altamente
same
competitivos e depois tivemos
team that
ali
played the
2
games
meses
in
onde não
February
conseguimos
and
ser
in
competitivos e
April.
amanhã dia
So we are
para dar outra
competitive,
vez
and
um
that's
passo
what
em
we want
frente,
to be as well.
tranquilamente,
Tomorrow
a
we'll
fazer
be
acontecer
ready
e
to
que
go,
aconteça o que acontecer, dia 7,
and we'll see
limpar
what
a cabeça e
happens
andar com muito
on
para
the
a
field.
frente e procurar competir
And
nos
we
próximos
are
jogos. Vai
ready
ter
to
que ser
go,
assim para seguirmos atingindo
and
os
we
nossos
have to
objetivos.
take it here
Última questão,
game
então,
by
ali
game.
atrás, faz favor.
The very last question, please.
For Catalunya Radio, you were mentioning that Nazaré will train with the group. In Barcelona, when she injured, we saw her very concerned. In the end, there she is. Do you have to stop her a bit because she's so willing to
Nós
play already?
estamos em perfeita comunicação entre a Federação Portuguesa
Our
de Futebol
communication is great,
e o
and the
Barcelona.
Portuguese Federation
Como é lógico,
and
todas as jogadoras
Barcelona
querem muito
can
jogar,
have
todas as
communication.
jogadoras
All
querem muito
players want to play.
participar neste
All
campeonato da
players
Europa,
want to be part of a
mas elas
European
sabem
Championship.
aquilo e nós
But
sabemos
we know,
enquanto
and
equipa aquilo que
everybody
temos que dar
knows,
delas
that
todas,
as a
por
team,
isso estamos muito tranquilos. Tem feito o
we are
trabalho
a
dela.
team.
Nós somos
She's
abertos com toda a
worked
gente, a
a
Francisca
lot.
veio
We've
acabar o
been
processo de recuperação
extremely
dela
open.
connosco,
Francisca
em sintonia com o Barcelona,
completed her
e depois cabe-nos a nós
process of
a partir daí
rehabilitation,
decidir se
and
ela
she's
vai a
with
jogo ou
us.
não.
And
É
is she
uma das
going to play or
23,
not?
por isso
She's
só
part of the
aquilo que por
23
depender seremos nós a
players, so
decidir.
it is a
Agora
possibility.
confiamos em todas as jogadoras
And
portuguesas,
we
estamos muito
do
contentes
believe
com o
in
trabalho
all
de
our
todas.
Portuguese players.
Já ganhámos com a Francisca,
And
já perdemos
I
com a
know
Francisca, já
that
ganhámos sem
we can
Francisca, já perdemos
win.
sem
We can win
Francisca. Uma equipa
with
de futebol
Francisca,
nunca poderá ser
without
centrada só
Francisca.
numa
This
jogadora.
has already
Agora, enquanto
happened.
treinador,
This is a
como é
European
lógico, quero que as
Championship.
minhas,
Every game is
todas as jogadoras
different.
portuguesas
And I
estejam
do believe that
saudáveis e
all
que as
the
23
Portuguese players, of
contem
course,
connosco
I
para
want them
seguir, possam
healthy,
contribuir
and
mesmo.
I want them to have
Ok,
fun
muito
on the
obrigado a
game.
todos.
Thank
Boa
you very
tarde,
much.
buenas tardes também.
Thank you, everyone.